Hello everyone. In previous video lecture, we discussed about the definition of data structure and we discussed the classification of data structure and the operation performed on primitive data structure. Once again, I'm going to be revising the definition of data structure and operation performed on primitive data structure. A data structure is a specialized format for organizing and storing the data. I already told if you want to access certain data within the computer memory, then we have to organize these data in specialized format that is called as an data structure. And data structures are classified into two different categories. Those are primitive and non-primitive. Primitive data structures are those which are directly operated on machine level instructions. Those are called as a primitive data structure. Means they does not require any interpretation for manipulating these data structure. For example, those are integer, float, character, double are the example for primitive data structure. On other hand, we are having non-primitive data structure. Now in this class, now we are discussing on these non-primitive data structure. We also discussed the operation performed on primitive data structures. Those are mainly create, destroy, select, update. Means creating the respective data structure, which is allocating a specified amount of memory for that particular data structure. Destroy is going to be deallocate the memory which is allocated for the particular data structure is called as destroy operations. The next one is select operations. Among the several element, select is an operation which is going to be picking a particular element from those many number of data elements. That is called as an select operation. Next one is update operation. Update is an operation which is replacing existing value with a new value. Means updating the existing value with the new value is called as an update operation. These are the few operations which are performing on primitive data structure. Next one is, now we have to discuss a non-primitive data structure. We already discussed what do you mean by primitive. Primitive means these are the data structures which are directly operated on machine level instructions. Now we are discussing non-primitive data structure. What do you mean by non-primitive data structure? Non-primitive data structures are more complex data structure. These data structures are derived from primitive data structure. Means what? These are complex data structure means these data structures are organized in little bit complex order. That's why it's called as a complex data structure. Means if we store any data in a primitive data structure, to manipulate those data structure we does not require any interpretation. But to manipulate data which is stored on this non-primitive data structure, we require certain interpretation the data which is stored in this non-primitive data structure. To define this non-primitive data structure, we require a primitive data structure. For example for non-primitive data structures are array, list, and files. We already discussed array in previous year, in first year. Array is a collection of homogeneous data elements. If you want to declare any array, we have to require the specific data type to store those particular data elements into array. Either it may be an integer, character, float, or a double. Right? These to define array, we require data type. These data type are primitive or basic data type. Means these are all derived from basic or primitive data types. But these are complex data structures. Means these data items are not directly operated on machine level instructions. That's why it's called as a complex data structures. Now we need to discuss again. Non-primitive data structures are categorized into few categories. Those are array, list, and files. In list, again these lists are classified into two different types. Once again I'm going to be showing the list. Non-primitive data structure. Non-primitive data structures are classified into three different types: array, list, files. Again lists are classified into two different types. Those are linear data structure and non-linear data structure. Now we are discussing on linear data structure. We are also having certain part on arrays. We're going to be discuss arrays in later classes. Now in this class I'm going to be discussing definition of linear data structure and the operation performed on linear data structure. Now what do you mean by linear data structure? Linear data structure is a kind of data structure that has homogeneous elements. Each element is referred to by an index. The linear data structures are stack, queue, linked list. Now I'm going to be defining what do you mean by linear data structure. Linear data structure is a kind of data structure that has homogeneous elements. Means these linear data structures are a collection of homogeneous data elements. For example, array, stack, queue, list, linked list. These are all example for linear data structure. Why these are called as a linear data structure? Because whatever the elements which we are organizing or storing in this structure, they are going to be storing one after the other. If you want to access any one of these elements, we have to have the index value for accessing that element. That is called as an referred by an index. Means if you stored the data in a primitive data structure, we does not require any index value. We can directly access the element from the primitive data structure. But in linear data structure, if you stored any data in linear data structure which has a number of elements, means which is a collection of homogeneous elements, among those if you want to access one particular element from those homogeneous elements, we require an index. With help of index only we are able to access the particular element. That's why these are collection of homogeneous elements and each element is referred by an index. Example for linear data structures are stack, queue, linked list. Next one is operations performed on linear data structure. It is important question. This question might be asked for 3 marks as well as 5 marks. Write the operation performed on linear data structure. You need to be remember these operations. The operation performed on linear data structures are traversal, insertion, deletion, searching, sorting, merging. What do you mean by traversal? Traversal, the process of accessing each data item exactly once to perform some operation is called as a traversing. Traversal or traverse is operation which is going to be accessing each data item of a particular data structure at least or exactly once to perform a certain operation on that data is called as a traversal. Means if you are going to be having an array and I want to perform a certain operation on array, I need to be visit each and every element of that array from 0th index to an n minus 1 index. How many elements we declared up to the last index, we have to visit each and every index of that array is called as an traversing. Traversal is a process of accessing each data item exactly once to perform a certain operation is called as an traversing. Next one is insertion. Insertion is a process of adding a new data item into the given collection of data item is called as an insertion. Simply, insertion is an operation which is going to be adding new data element to the given data structure. Either it may be a stack, queue, linked list or array. Insertion is a simple operation which is going to be inserting a new data element into the particular data structure. In the same way, deletion. The deletion is a process of removing an existing data item from the given collections. Once we insert a data item into a data structure, we need to be delete, or if time being if you want to remove, that can be performed with help of an deletion operation which is going to be deleting an existing element from the given data structure is called as an deletion. The next one is searching. Searching is the operation or it is a process of finding the location of the data item in a given collection of data item is called searching. Searching means is the process of finding a particular element which is located within the given data structure is called as an searching operations. Means we declared an array has 5 elements. Within that 5 elements I want to search for a particular element. That is going to be done or performed with help of an searching operations. Is nothing but finding or locating a particular element in a given data structure is called as an searching. Next one is sorting. Sorting is a process of rearranging the elements of the particular data structure in particular order. Order is either ascending or descending. We need to be if we declared a certain data structure, means linear data structure, to perform a certain operation on that data structure, we have to organize that data elements into particular order. To rearranging that elements is called as an sorting process or a sorting operation. It is an operation to rearrange the element of the data structure in particular order. Order is either ascending or descending, is called as an sorting. The next one is merging. Merging is a process of combining two or more data structure to form a single data structure, is called as an merging operations. Means if I declare two different array, integer a of 5 and integer b of 5, I want to merge these two different array as a single array, integer c of 10. That is called as an merging operations. Merging is an operation which is going to be combining two or more data structure to form a single data structure, is called as an merging operations. I hope whatever I discussed today you got the all those things. In this class we discussed what do you mean by non-primitive data structure, the definition of non-primitive data structure, the definition of linear data structure, and the operation performed on linear data structures. Okay, thank you. In upcoming classes we are going to be discussing certain algorithms, basic algorithms on search operations.